This is part 2 of week 2's videos on understanding and using variables. So now I've explained to you what we're going to do, let's proceed and make a new project. We're going to keep the standard layout because it's not so important at the moment, and I'm going to call this game variables. So now we have an empty game. I'm going to go ahead and straight away save this. I'm going to call it, I'm just going to give an extra, because I already have a game called variables saved here. I'm just going to save it over the top. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add the assets and also put in some details about the game. For example, layout 1 and event sheet 1. So I'm actually going to rename these. Because I could have more than one game open. And if I have more than one game open, I could confuse which game has what event sheet in it. So I know that's a bit long, but yeah, it'd be quite a good name, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's add some assets. Assets are usually sprites and graphics. So in the Moodle page, you'll find there's a folder with some game assets in it for variables. Let's import those now. So to import sprites, I right-click on the screen, insert a new object, scroll to sprite, click insert. Now, what we're going to insert here is an explosion. We want the explosions to happen when something happens on the screen. So therefore, they don't need to be initially visible. However, they have to be on the game stage, because if they're not on the game stage, the game engine won't recognize their existence. So they have to be off the game area. I'm going to click in the gray area above my stage, insert a new object, sprite, and insert. Okay, I'm not going to draw anything in here. I'm not going to paste anything in. I'm going to go down to the bottom and go over the 0 frame, click outside it and right click, import frames from a strip, because all of my animations for the explosion are in a thing called a sprite sheet, which I'm sure you understand. Going to double click explosion, and now the software is asking me how many horizontal cells and how many vertical cells are in this strip. To be absolutely sure, the best thing to do, I have found, is to open that file in a separate folder. So just double click it and open it in the viewer and actually count them physically. So 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a 4 by 4 strip. Okay. So I'm going to add 4 by 4. And it says replace entire animation. It will just get rid of frame 0. So I'm going to click import. And what it does is it works out where the center of each image is. And then what we want to do is crop the frame, because we've got an awful lot of empty space here, which of course the computer is seeing as a solid. We see as transparent. And there's a down arrow by the crop symbol. And what I want to do is I want to apply my crop to the animation, and it will just automatically crop everything to the right size. So we're ready to go. I just want to make sure that my origin point is in the middle. That's good. And then I want to set the animation up. So I'm going to rename animation 1 here to bomb or bang. Bang, call it bang. And I'm going to set the animation speed. Well, we need to test it. So here's the test button. You can see at 5 frames a second, it's reasonably slow. So I'm going to put that up to 30 frames a second. Check out the explosion now. Yep. Restart. Okay, that's good. I'm not going to have a loop, just have it repeating to count 1. Oh, looks like because I had my origin selected, I click the origin point way over to one side, so I'm just going to click it back. Easy thing to happen. I'm just going to make sure it's right in the middle there and test it again. I wondered why that preview video was a bit strange. Good. Okay, let's just click off it so I don't make the same mistake. Right, so I'm going to close this, and you need to make sure that the explosion is actually off the main game area, because if I press play now, you'll see that it will overlap the game area, which I don't really want to happen. So I'm just going to make sure that's well off my game area, and you can see now in my object types it's been called a sprite. So I'm just going to call this bang1 because I've got two bangs which I'm going to put in here.